Hello, and welcome back to Principles of Engineering. In this unit, we're going to be looking at types of energy, probably most specifically electricity. But what we're going to do is look at where we get our energy from, and look at some different sources for that. So energy is the ability to do work. It comes into three categories: non-renewable, renewable, and inexhaustible. And we'll go through some examples. Most of the energy we get from here on Earth is from the sun, the exception being nuclear. There's probably some other exceptions, but I guess tidal to some degree. So the first category is energy that cannot be replaced once used. I mean, they will be replaced or could be replaced, but not in a useful, it takes millions of years. So that's why they're saying that they can't be replaced once they've used. So we've got coal, oil, natural gas, anything that's dug up out of the ground and burned pretty much is a fossil fuel, or pumped out of the ground or anything like that. So all right. Another non-renewable energy source is nuclear energy, which we use uranium for. Uranium is not going to be, we're not going to get any more uranium anytime soon. We got all the uranium we're going to get when the planet formed. We're not making any more new uranium, so that is why it's non-renewable. And like most, like a lot of energy sources, it's used to make electricity. And in order to make electricity, typically what you do is you use it to create heat. That heat boils water. That water creates steam, and then the steam spins a fan or a turbine, and that turbine spins a generator, and that generator produces electricity. Renewable energy sources, energy that can be replaced once used. There's animal energy, food energy, biomass such as like corn stalks and all that. If we could find a way to use corn stalks efficiently to make ethanol or hydrogen or something like that, that would be something we can replace every year and get more of. Biofuel, it can be produced, ethanol and methanol, typically produced from corn itself, not the stalks, and that's fermented just like to create alcohol. It's used to produce ethanol. And corn, of course, can be replaced once we can make more of it. So that's an example. Those are examples of renewable energy sources. Now, inexhaustible means that we're never going to run out of it in any like, normal sense of the word. So, for example, hydroelectric power relies on rain, and we're not going to use up the rain. Well, I mean, we can drain a reservoir, but we're always going to get more of it. I actually never thought about that. Technically, this could almost be renewable. But anyway, they've got it classified under inexhaustible because we're never going to run out of rain. And so that it doesn't boil the water, it uses the water to spin a turbine, which spins a generator, which produces electricity. And this comes from the sun, basically, because the sun is what evaporates the water and produces rain. Tidal energy, so the high and low tides, water flows in and out, and you can use that to create electricity. That is a good source of energy. Geothermal, areas that have magma that are fairly close to the surface of the earth, such as I think, is it Norway? One of those countries gets like almost all of their energy from geothermal because they just happen to be in a area of the planet where the magma is pretty close. And what you do is you pump water down deep into the rock, and then the hot magma and rock boil the water, and that's what spins the turbine and creates electricity. And you're never going to run out of that. So that's inexhaustible. Wind, we're never going to run out of wind. That again relies on the sun. The sun creates air currents, and so the wind is used to spin a turbine, or the wind spins a turbine, which spins a generator and produces electricity. A lot of energy is used to produce electricity. There's solar. There's different types. There's solar panels, which convert the electricity, or the sunlight, directly into electricity, and that's what they're showing on the satellite and on the roof here. Then there are what are called solar collectors, which basically use the sunlight to create heat. They'll concentrate the sunlight on a central object that has got water in it, a central tank, and that tank will boil water, and then that boiled water will create steam, and steam spins a turbine, and you know the drill from here. So there's different types of solar. This is a solar collector. You can see these mirrors are computer controlled, and they turn with the sun to keep the light focused on this the central tower. Pretty cool, really. Ways to store hydrogen, not technically a source of energy, because we can't go and mine hydrogen, and batteries certainly not. That's just a way of storing it. But they're hoping to make a hydrogen economy for cars, where cars will run on hydrogen instead of gas if electric doesn't work out. So they're kind of competing technologies, electric cars and hydrogen cars. We'll see who wins out. But hydrogen has to be produced, and how is it produced? It's produced by electricity usually. And how do you produce electricity? Well, it depends on the area of the country. If you're around here, you produce it from burning coal. So hydrogen is not necessarily, or hydrogen or electric cars aren't necessarily clean, because the electricity used to generate, the electricity generated was produced by coal or something like that. Okay, so what you're going to do in the next activity is you're going to create a 4-slide PowerPoint, and then hopefully you will narrate it, much as I'm doing right now. So the first slide should be on the type of energy. Is it renewable, non-renewable, or inexhaustible? And an explanation as of why. How do we make this energy usable? The infrastructure, you know, what do we have to have in place? What do we have to build in order to use it? And what are emerging or future technologies that are coming to play? Even with something like coal, there's probably going to be some newer technology to make it cleaner or something along those lines. Pros and cons of that energy source should be clearly explained. The slides, the text should be not such that you read the text like off the PowerPoint slide. You should have main bullet points on the slide, and then you should annotate, or you should voice annotate those. The presentation should be between 3 and 5 minutes. The organization makes sense. We could hear you pretty clearly, and you don't just read off the slides. You expand upon the bullet points. Ideally, you'd be looking at the audience, but that's not going to be happening. There's evidence that you were prepared. You weren't just winging it. And we're not going to worry about references. We can skip that right there. Okay, so I'll let you work with a partner, and you can choose an energy source, although I'm only going to let one person do one type at a time. I will create a discussion and have you guys pick the energy source that you want to use. This will be due, I'll give you maybe 2 days in class to work on it, and then maybe it'll be due Friday or something like that. We'll have to play it by ear. All right.